Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at @GoldenBoot or through PayPal at paypal.me/GoldenBoot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back to another edition of HBCU Hour. It's your boy Pooh Bell. I got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. We got Daniel D. Williams in the building already with his petty. We'll get there. You know fellas, how y'all doing this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm ready for this show, bro.
I'm good too, man.
Listen, I've been ready since Saturday.
For sure.
Saturday. It's a flu game for me though. I'm fighting it. I've been sweating all day, drinking orange juice and Gatorade.
Playing hurt.
Listen. I love my kids, but they trying to kill me. They trying to take me out with this flu, man.
I think it's going around, brother. I've got the sniffles myself, so I feel your pain.
My kids love me, so I'm feeling good over here. I don't know about y'all.
They love me, Dylan. Hey, I started to coughing and stuff last night. Dylan said, "You okay, Daddy?" I'm scared. I said, "No, I'm good." I'm good.
That's funny.
But let's go ahead and get started, man. We have a guest in the build. We're gonna have several guests tonight. This is probably the most guests we've ever had. We got this thing running like like Oprah used to do back in the day, have a whole panel, like 13 people used to come on. But anyway, but let's get started. First guest. Miss Raven Thissel is an award-winning diversity and inclusion thought leader, certified holistic health coach, international talk show host, and corporate communications consultant. Now say that 3 times fast. But she serves as the marketing and PR director of the Doug Williams Center, creating solutions for racial and gender disparities in college and professional sports. She is the CEO of Thissel Consulting, where she provides executive leadership to cultural innovation and initiatives and communications project management solutions for impactful organizations. Thistle's holistic health education and background in public relations and marketing have uniquely positioned her to exercise her passion for social advancement in a variety of ways. When she observed the climbing rate of suicide and stress-related illness among Black Americans, Thissel founded Crowned and Calm Co., with the mission of empowering Black communities with meditation and other holistic health tools. She is the host of Raven Thissel Live and IBM TV network talk show, where she teaches holistic personal development to an international audience across 144 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HBCU Hour, Miss Raven Thissel. Thank you for coming and joining us. Listen,
That's so impressive.
Thank you.
I never had a problem reading out loud in class, but I was sweating. I didn't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
Jonesboro in the house, yes.
So I got Tony, man, right there,
Yeah.
repping Jonesboro.
Yes, but Miss Thissel, thank you for coming on with us. The last few episodes actually started this summer with the announcement of FISC gymnastics program and Morgan Price choosing FISC over Arkansas. We've been talking about gymnastics and stuff heavily. And then the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have to say, we've been talking about it again because of Fish, competing in the first competitions and stuff and doing very well. And then Talladega.
Yeah.
Talladega College now, the alma mater of one Deion Sanders.
Petty.
I know,
Petty.
I'm very petty.
Petty.
But
big news.
but the alma mater, the Talladega College now becoming the second HBCU to offer gymnastics.
So dope.
Tell us about that. Tell us about, well, let's start here. What is the Doug Williams Center and what is your role there and how did you start?
So the Doug Williams Center is an advancement space. What we do is provide solutions for diversity, equity, and inclusion in professional and college sports. Because we're an affiliate of Grambling State University, a lot of that starts with research. So a lot of times the issues with diversity in sports is, the organizations get to kind of skate by because there's not enough research to support this outcome or that outcome. Well, we create the research. And so then after working with academicians from different HBCUs and students, we include students in the research process so that way they can have published research by the time that they graduate. They get to be a part of the whole process. And then we'll bring on interns to help with the marketing and support, so they get the experience and then they get to connect. We also have relationships with NFL. We have partnership with NFL. And so with that, we get to provide research opportunities where students get to present their research and recommendations to the NFL executives. They also, HBCU students are getting exclusive access to live talks with NFL executives and cozy private Zoom rooms where they can ask their questions and network. So it's a really dynamic space because we also provide consulting to different sports organizations to help them with their diversity issues that come up. So it's a very unique type of thing that we get to do being at that intersection of HBCU and professional and college sports.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, and I know, of course, this conversation is more tailored to a certain subject, but I would like to come back maybe in the future and ask you about some NFL questions also and about your students working with the different NFL executives.
For sure.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more? Because I know you guys also partner with Brown Girls Do Gymnastics.
Yes.
Could you tell? And I know you may not, no, but could you tell us a little bit more about Brown Girls Do Gymnastics?
Absolutely. So the president of Brown Girls Do Gymnastics, Darren Moore, she is just a phenomenal person. So she was the one who really started this. We need to have gymnastics at HBCUs movement before the Doug Williams Center was even created. She was already doing that. Okay. And so when we encountered her, we were introduced to her through a former leadership member at Grambling. And he was like, Raven, I want you to take this by the horns and work with her. She wants to start at HBCU gymnastics. It can happen. Let's get the right research behind her to support that this is going to be lucrative, to support that it's going to be a benefit to Black and brown girls, and also that it's going to be a benefit to HBCU. We have to prove that with research because there was nothing to show. Why would we invest in gymnastics? And you got to think this is height of Simone Biles. It was an Olympic year during that time. So it was easy to get professors interested in doing the research. It was easy to get students on board. We had a couple of professors even make it a class assignment to conduct that research, Grambling State professors. One of them was Dr. Suzanne Mayo. Dr. Aaron Livingston also supported the research. He's the lead of our research and study division, the lead academician. And so partnering with Brown Girls Do Gymnastics, we decided that Grambling would host the gymnastics conference in 2021. So we had 250 brown little girls on campus doing gymnastics. And it was amazing because so many of them, they came from all over the country. And so many of them had never been around other Black girls who were doing gymnastics. They're the only Black girl in their gymnastics gym. And so that's the power of this event. And then hosting it on the HBCU campus gave them the opportunity to dream, because you got to realize, like, before last year, if a Black girl was a gymnast, she would have to choose between continuing gymnastics at a PWI or giving up gymnastics to feel at home at an HBCU. That's been the choice that gymnasts have had to make all time in America until last year.
Yeah.
So these girls got to come on campus, do gym, and be around people who look like them 100%. So I was a big part of coordinating the event and designing the research. And then I'm the marketing and PR director for Doug Williams Center. I know you asked what I do there, so I didn't clarify that when I answered your first question. So my main job is to get the word out and make sure that everybody knows what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we want it to go. Trying to get other HBCUs on board. And then after the event, things really blew up because we were able to escalate the story about the research findings. Ebony Magazine was interested. We had several national news outlets picking up the story. So from there, that's when the ball really got rolling. That's when FIST came into the picture. That's when Talladega came on board. Just continuing that story, and then helping Brown Girls Do Gymnastics is ongoing work, for the Doug Williams Center.
For sure. Now, Raven, what's your ultimate goal for your nonprofit? For
The
Brown
ultimate
Girls
goal for Doug Williams Center?
Mm-hmm. No, for Brown Girls Do Gymnastics. What's your ultimate
so
goal?
Brown Girls is not my nonprofit, so I really can't speak to what the ultimate goal is. Mm-hmm. Darren Moore could, if she was here, but she probably would say something like that she wants all the HBCUs to offer gymnastics as a foundational program in their athletic programming.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
Well, let me ask you. So I know there's a Brown Girls Do Gymnastics, and we had a conversation last week. Where's the Brown Boys Do Gymnastics also? Is that going to be something that you guys are going to also look into?
You know what? I think you're onto something. And the only thing stopping that, as far as I know, is having men come into the picture to lead that, we need gymnasts who are going to lead that charge. Brown Girls Do Gymnastics is not exclusive to girls. Darren does, there were little boys are allowed to attend these events as well. I do know that, but as far as the overarching organization of there being a Brown Boys Do Gymnastics, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask about that.
So, to your knowledge, what were some of the biggest hurdles or obstacles that were, y'all had to overcome in getting Fisk and Talladega to, actually have gymnastics teams?
So, in working with Darren, who would be better suited for that question, I remember getting the buy-in being a big issue because, it's not that HBCUs don't want gymnastics. It's not that at all. is that systemically, since the beginning, HBCUs has been grossly underfunded. And so they have had to choose the athletic programming where they know for a fact that they're going to get the dollars back. And that's been places like football, basketball. Every HBCU just about has those two teams, maybe softball, baseball. And so gymnastics happens to be a really expensive sport to start. It's very expensive. It can be really difficult to find coaches, and then all of the money that funnels into it is a huge hurdle for HBCUs. And our research really details that. And for anybody who's interested, DougWilliamsCenter.com/research. It's free. It's a case study there. It's called Diane Durham. It's called Black Women in Gymnastics, Continuing the Legacy of Diane Durham, who is one of the flagship Black women to really put a stake in the ground that Black women do gymnastics too. And she was really just slighted in the end, and her career ended prematurely because of ultimately racism and other factors. So we're wanting to prevent that from happening again, but having the backing of historically Black colleges helps that happen for Black gymnasts. So funding is the biggest barrier for basically all HBCUs. But as the movement picks up, now we have FIST, now we have Talladega, that's momentum.
Yeah.
So more attention there means more dollars there for these HBCUs to finally be able to do it. As far as other things that influence the lack of gymnastics at HBCUs, also is perception, because it tends to be an expensive sport. Black and brown people have generally been excluded or not thought of when it's time to do gymnastics or when it's time to consider gymnastics, inside the culture and outside the culture.
David actually brings up, and it kind of goes along with some of the next few points. It says we definitely need more gymnastics programs in our communities. We can easily get some of these kids who we see doing these ridiculous flips in the hood and perfect those skills and give them more options. Then he follows up, says, if our kids can do these things with no training, imagine what they can do with an actual teacher. So,
yes.
And that's something we, because we talked about last week about, especially with, and Daniel said about young boys, how many young boys we see doing flips or saying these kids doing flips and stuff, but stigmas behind it. There is nothing there for us, so, which kind of leads to one of our next questions. If you can tell us, what are some of the other schools that you guys are working with trying to get the gymnastics programs for?
I can't share that because it's not my business to tell.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I know that there are more schools in the pipeline, or at least in the conversation.
Yeah.
There are more institutions in the conversation, but they're having those conversations directly with Brown Girls Do Gymnastics. So what Brown Girls Do Gymnastics does is they actually do the legwork of helping the institution find a coach, helping the institution build up the programming in-house, working with the athletic director to do the finer work of this is what it's going to take for you to have a gymnastics team. And then also, recruiting the gymnasts to come to the school. So Brown Girls Do Gymnastics is the one that's directly and intimately involved with all of the aspects of doing and building that. What the Doug Williams Center does is we support everything, whatever they need help with, whatever they can't do. Yeah. So one piece is we need to get the word out about this. We need Doug Williams level PR and marketing on this situation. Or, how do we engage more HBCUs smartly? So consulting in that way. So we definitely cannot take the credit away from
definitely.
I get that. I get it now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Brown Girls Do Gymnastics. It sounds like you guys are putting together the bones, and then the programs are kind of putting the meat on, but you're giving them a solid foundation as far as finding the coaches, finding the gymnasts. So sounds like you guys are setting them up for success. which is
Yeah,
pretty
that's
awesome.
what they do.
Yeah,
They do. They find the coaches. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So any HBCU athletic directors who are watching and you're interested in having a gymnastics team, Brown Girls Do Gymnastics will help you every step of the way.
So y'all are sort of like a liaison to Brown Girls Do Gymnastics in a sense, and help, with resources, like you said, PR, marketing, and maybe some of the things, since they're so small and Doug Williams has the platform that he has, y'all are able to get more research and more things like that. Y'all have a bigger network for them to kind of use those resources in a sense.
For sure. And I would say we've helped them with strategy. Like, okay, I see your goal. We see that this is something that could really make a difference in a lot of lives. Sports is a way paver. Yeah. Sports creates that path for Black people, for all people, but for Black people especially. And so, how many girls don't have the opportunity, or how many young people, not just girls, don't have the opportunity? And also, on the topic of Black boys do gymnastics, I have to mention that the young women having the opportunity paves the way for the young men.
That's for sure.
So that's coming. It's coming. It's inevitable. Black women never do anything and leave Black men behind. Never. It's never happened.
That's a powerful statement right there.
Never happened.
That's a powerful statement.
Can we clip
that will be clipped and on TikTok
later. I love it.
All right. So why is it, and we've kind of touched on this, but why is it important to expand gymnastics to HBCUs?
So one of the big things that had just happened at the time we were starting our research was a Black gymnast at a predominantly white institution in a southern state that I won't name had just experienced some extreme racism from her teammates, and it was covered up by her coaches, and she did not have the support that she needed. And she decided to transfer to an HBCU so that she didn't have to deal with the social pressures of the racism that she was encountering. And by making that choice to go to an HBCU, she was making the choice to give up her career as an athlete.
Yeah. Wow.
This is one of the many reasons why we need to have all the sport availability in the inclusive space of an HBCU. It's a prime example. And that young lady, she reached out to Brown Girls Do Gymnastics for support. Her story got national coverage. That coach and her teammates had to face consequences for what they did. But also, she became a spokesperson for this movement. And she was actually present at the Grambling Brown Girls Do Gymnastics conference. She was present as one of the teachers and instructors there. So she continues to be a voice for this movement. So that's one of the reasons why we need it, because if one Black youth needs it, we all need it. If she's in trouble, if she's suffering, we're all suffering and we're all in trouble.
For sure.
So that's a part of it. Another part of it is gymnasts are some of the highest academic achievers. All of the gymnasts, and I mean all of the gymnasts who graduate toward the top of their class. They're not majoring, you know what I'm saying? Like they're bringing, this is the type of athletic statistic that athletic departments need. They don't just need an athlete, they need a smart athlete. They need athletes who are making the grade. Gymnasts make the grade statistically. So they're bringing up the numbers for HBCU athletics departments just by being there. So that's one of the benefits. And then third, this is an internationally respected sport. It's an Olympic sport. So when you start offering gymnastics at your university, you're opening the door for Simone Biles to come and speak. You know what I'm saying? Like you're raising the bar, you're elevating the public perception of your institution by including this really elite sport. Not to mention sponsorship dollars and things like that come in the door when you add a sport of this magnitude. And then the last thing I'll say about why it's so important, and I could go on, is just the opportunity that it provides. I mean, at the end of the day, HBCU or any institution, but especially HBCUs, these are places where Black kids aspire to be. It's a safe place for you. And so when you decide that you want to go to an HBCU, you shouldn't have to also decide to narrow down your options for what you can do as an athlete. You should be able to say, I want to go learn with my people, and I'm going to do whatever it is you want to do. So this is a step closer to making that real.
Yeah. Man,
I'm gonna ask this question. I know. I'm gonna ask this question for a reason, and so because I know a lot of our people here usually typically tune in for the football and the basketball and stuff like that. But I'm gonna ask this for a reason, and then once you answer, I can do approximately how many young ladies are on a gymnastics team?
All right. Once again, not a gymnastics expert.
Right.
I'm not a gymnastics expert, so I don't even know. I want to say there are 10 at minimum.
Okay.
But I could be completely wrong. So Darren Moore, president of BGDG, when you watch this, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and just apologize.
Hey, Google. Hey, it's a quick Google search for the viewers.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I asked that, a lot of HBCUs have talked about going from FCS to FBS. With Title IX, you have to have those the same number. You have to give scholarships on the football side. You have to give them on the to women's sports as well. Adding a gymnastics program at a HBCU could do that.
It's 12.
Is it 12? So then that could be another 2 sports that you can add at a HBCU to help you get to that mark. But I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I don't know if a lot of people.
And while we kind of veering away from gymnastics for a second, let me ask you this question. What you kind of touched on it before, but I'll let you kind of expound a little bit. What are some of the other avenues and things that the Doug Williams Center is working in and have worked in the past?
Yeah, so we love supporting placement. One thing I love about working in the HBCU space is the goal is not just the graduate. The goal is not just for you to graduate, it's the employed graduate. So we love to support HBCU students as they look for internships and jobs, and then graduates as they're looking for jobs. So what we do is we partner with organizations like the NFL. They pass along their openings. Hey, we want an HBCU student to fill these roles. And then we go and share that with our network. So on our advisory board, we have the commissioners from 4 HBCU athletic conferences. So we got the SWAC, the MEAC, the list goes on. So that gives us access to dozens, hundreds of other schools. So we can filter those job opportunities through that network. So I don't know if your audience has HBCU students that watch, but if you are an HBCU student watching, go over to DougWilliamsCenter.com, make sure you click Join the Huddle. That's our newsletter. And when you join the huddle, you will be in the know when those opportunities come up. I will personally be sending those emails out to that list of HBCU students. In addition to sharing the job openings, beginning this month, we're going to offer support with your application process because sometimes you don't even know, so we're giving the additional support to the HBCU student and recent graduate. So we will give you coaching through the application process, interview process, whatever you need to help mentor you into the new role that you're going to be entering. And it doesn't just stop when you get hired. One of our interns, Taylor Nunley, when she got done working with us, she went on to work for the Cavs. She's still working with the Cavs. And we keep in touch. I still give her, mentorship. She will call me about any work-related things that she needs help with or support on. And that's how we show up for our interns and our HBCU students. In addition to that, I mentioned that we have a speaker series. We've also supported the state of Louisiana legislation. We went through the process of getting legislation passed that will require a Black Applicant be interviewed for all head coaching and athletic director roles at Louisiana institutions of higher learning. So that hasn't been passed yet, but it was a public, a very public process that we went through and are still in to try to get that passed. Let me think, what else do we do? In addition to research. So we kind of let the problem guide the work.
Yeah.
What's something that needs to be done? Is it something that we can support? Is it something that we can make a difference in? Right now, we have research coming out on amateurism. We are going to be deconstructing amateurism. Amateurism is rooted in a lot of things that are not really based on your skill as an athlete. So that's coming soon.
Right. Raven, if I could also ask you a question. You mentioned something earlier about mentoring. As a young Black professional, especially growing up in Louisiana, that's not too many people that we see that we grow with that work in corporate America. So whenever it comes to, especially, you being from Jonesboro, a small community in Louisiana, I mean, did you have any mentors that helped you, that guided you as far as throughout your career? And how important is that these kids that participate in your program, how important is that for them to have that mentorship?
I believe mentorship is absolutely essential. And what you just hit on is major. The fact that most of us do not have mentors or really even role models a lot of time, depending on what we want to do. A lot of times, because we are Black and or from small communities, we choose our role models based on who we already see doing things, not based on what we want to do. And then there's somebody that we know. Jonesboro is the big city. Jonesboro is absolutely the big city. Southern classic chicken. The line be wrapped around the road. So
don't come during Christmas time.
Look. So we choose our mentors based on who we see doing things already. Oh, Kobe Bryant, he's playing basketball. He seems like an amazing person. I want to play basketball now because that's what he's doing. And so now I'm training my life in the direction of somebody who I look up to as a person. And on the converse, it would be, I really love art. I want to be a painter. Let me see if there are painters who are doing what I want to do. And then you're led from the inside. Yeah. So that's an opportunity. That's why so many of us, we follow a track because we've latched onto a mentor. And then when we get down in that track, even if we're successful at it, we'd be like, well, maybe I don't know if I want to do this after all, because that wasn't coming from here.
Right.
So mentorship in all these different lanes, it gives us the power of being authentic. So that's a part of it. I would say for me, I didn't have mentorship growing up. I was weird. I was quirky. I was into a lot of things that I didn't really know anybody else who was into. I was into anime. I was into, drawing and, just whatever was a little offbeat. And I didn't see any Black women doing that stuff. I didn't see any Black women who were writing about the things I was writing about. And then, being a multi-potentialite, I'm somebody who's always had multiple passions. There's so many people like that. You have so many things that you're interested in, and it's really hard to choose a lane. Can we get mentors who are doing many things? So no, I didn't have mentors growing up. Now I have mentors and I seek them out. I actually have my eyes on a woman, and I love what she's doing, and I'm gonna email her. I've already got the email drafted up. I'm just, I seek out people who I like and I admire, and I try to spend time with them so that I can become more of who I want to become.
Yeah.
And I also love mentoring others. I have several mentors, and I love when they call me. I will stop whatever I'm doing when they call me because it's essential. And I think all of us need to be doing that, no matter who you are or what you're doing. Even if you get to the point where you realize that you're a big deal. Get to the point where you realize that you are a big deal because you're you.
Yeah.
That because you're you have something to give, and then give it back, especially as Black men. That's why your podcast is so important. Your podcast is so important. People who you don't even know are watching. They need you. You are already somebody's mentor and you don't even know it, you know? So yeah, mentorship is essential.
Don't have us up in here crying though.
And I was just about to say, you touched on something that was very important though. Like you said you didn't see anyone like you who were into the things that you were into, and you touched on it also with the Brown Girls Do Gymnastics event. Kids seeing kids that look like them doing the same thing they were interested in, and I think that's kind of just to take it full circle. To me, that's the biggest or most important thing about gymnastics at HBCUs is the representation that young Black girls will see of seeing, college, a team full of young Black women doing college gymnastics, and they can say, oh, I can do that. I can go to college and be a gymnast, and they don't have to feel like, because I don't see anyone like me doing this, that there's something I can't achieve. So to me, that's the most important thing is the representation for young women.
Absolutely. If I had seen Black women visual artists, I probably wouldn't be here right now because I would have had the confidence to pursue creating art as a career. I'm grateful that I'm here though, because I love what I'm doing now, but it would have changed the trajectory of my life if I had just seen one.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Man.
For sure.
Let me ask this. As we get ready to wrap, first of all, thank you so much for coming on.
Facts.
Very informative, very inspiring. For those who would like to help, how can they do that? As far as the Doug Williams Center, what are some ways we can help out?
How you can support the Doug Williams Center. I love this. Nobody ever asked that.
Trying to do our part too,
Yeah. So here's what you can do. You can go to DougWilliamsCenter.com, click join the huddle. You won't be sorry. The huddle is not just a newsletter, which it is. It's a great newsletter that gives you an overview every month of all the social advancement in sports, the high points. But also you get exclusive access and first look at what we're doing next. We ask you for your opinions on what we're doing, what we're working on, what should we be working on. You get to weigh in on the work. And also you get first access to our research. You're the first person to get your hands on the newest case study. So join the huddle. Make sure that you're following Doug Williams Center on all of our social media platforms so that you are in the know about what's next, what we're doing, where we're going to be, how you can be a part of events. And then, there's going to be more opportunities and more different ways for people to support in the near future. It really depends on what you're doing. If you're interested in partnering with us, then you can go to the Doug Williams Center. There's a menu option that says engage, and one of the drop options is partner with us. If you are a researcher or a student interested in researching diversity, equity, inclusion in sports, past, present, or future, also go to the website and click study with us. So those are the three primary ways that you can engage. And we would be happy to talk to, whomever wants to really invest in this work.
See, you good, because that was going to be my next question. So thank you so very much. Again, thank you so much for joining us, providing us with great information. And again, very inspiring.
Thanks for having me. I'm so grateful. Thank you for inviting me in.
No problem. Hopefully we can do this again and kind of get into some of the NFL and, non-gymnastics things that the Doug Williams Center is doing.
I would love to.
Awesome. Right. Appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our very special guest, Miss Raven Thissel, Marketing and PR Director at the Doug Williams Center. Thank you again, Miss Raven, for joining us.
Man.
Right. That was great.
Woo, that was informative. I see.
I was in class. Like I feel like I got preached, taught, everything, man.
Hey, for my guy who asked the jersey, this our jersey, baby.
Marvin,
get you one of these.
Said, Daniel, what jersey is that? Yeah, that's the Golden Boot jersey, man.
Hey, I had two. Get you one of these. Yeah.
All right. Let's see who else. Aunt, you got a special message from my niece. Said you need to read her message.
Hey, Daddy.
My baby told me to tell Pooh Bear and Daniel that she's selling chocolate bars for school and she need y'all to send her some money.
I'm on a diet.
Gotcha.
You ain't gonna eat it, just send her the money.
I got you.
I got you.
All right. We got our other guests backstage. Let's go. I'm gonna run through this basketball real quick. So we can get to them. In the SWAC, Southern still undefeated and leading the conference. In the MEAC, Morgan State only undefeated team in competitive MEAC. Well, yeah, so Prairie View women ended the Jackson State streak at 34. Jackson State had a 34-game SWAC streak, and they took them out. Jackson State bounced back very quickly the very next game and blew somebody out by I want to say by 34.
But then the next game for Prairie View and Southern, wasn't that the women? Wasn't that the next game after that?
No, I'm talking about the next game for Jackson State.
Oh, you said for Jackson State. I got you.
Next game for Jackson State, they beat somebody. They said, don't do it. But all right, folks, I know that ain't what y'all here to talk about.
Let's go.
So let's go ahead and introduce our next guest.
Let's do it.
Coming to the Golden Boot HBCU hour for the first time. We have Mr. Jerry W. Jones, no relation to that one. And then welcoming back, we got our cousins. We got Dave from Down South Football. And we also got our man Renard from Down South Football. Fellas, welcome back.
We in this thing.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
All right. How y'all doing?
Hey, man. First of all, let me just go on complain off the top.
Oh,
Lord.
Let's go on get it. We might well go on get it started. Renard clearly had a photo shoot with his picture. He had the blazer. That's okay. Pooh and cuz I got some coming.
Dave. I'm gonna tell you how bougie Renard is. I said,
wow,
Renard,
this is about to get stormy. Okay.
I picked out a picture. You know what I'm saying? Nice picture. I had it laid out. He said,
the lies start already. Okay.
He said, I don't like that picture.
You lies. We doing the lies again?
You know what I want.
Oh man,
it was them glamour shot pictures. I'm talking about. I had to take out. It was some clouds in the background. It was some flowers. I can't use this. I had to take all that out. That's why I had to cut out. But nah,
you can't be lying on this good Lord day like that, man. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. Tell no lies, dog.
Oh man.
So, hey, then we got the Peabody legend, Mr. Jones.
You really went back when you said Peabody. Lord. Way back.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you know me. Most people don't know I graduated from Peabody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. Now, it's some very interesting and a reason why we got everybody on. Ed Reed made some comments that kind of brought shockwaves to the HBCU community. First, let's play Ed Reed's comments.
Prime was not wrong about what he was saying. All y'all out there with y'all opinions, full of crap, don't know shit. But needless to say, I just pulled up to work. We're gonna try to help y'all too, man, because I know a lot of HBCs need help. I'm just here to help here first. I see it all too clearly. All our HBCUs need help. HBCUs need help. And they need help because of the people who's running it. It's broken mentalities out here. I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. I gotta get in the office. I hope y'all be blessed out there. 336, I see you, my bro. About to pull up, I'm in the office, bro. I gotta get out here. My guys already out here working. I've been here for a week and a half. I've been here for a week and a half and have done more than people that have been here in freaking years. And I'm not even hired yet. Damn shame. I holla. I've been mutting and showing shit. I chose not to. But now I'm out here walking with the football team, picking up trash. But I'm mutting us. Man, get out of here, man. I should leave. I'm not even under contract doing this. I'm mutting us? Man, get out of here, man. They mutt me. These motherfuckers ain't even clean my goddamn office when I got here. I'm mutting y'all? Get your ass, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. All this shit here was trash in front of me. Who you think got this shit cleared out? That building right there got trash in it. It's fucking trash. What are you talking about? I need no goddamn donors to come out and help out, because people just want money. That's why I don't fuck with social network. Fuck out of here, man. Donors come help out.
Network.
He said, "We don't need no donuts."
Hold on, somebody. We got an echo. All right. Trying to figure out where the echo comes from.
Is that Jerry? Yeah, I think it's Jerry. That's who it is. Yeah.
Okay.
You might have to put your headphones.
Okay. Yeah, we lost your video as well, Jerry.
Yeah.
So that was Ed Reed. Since then, we've had Eddie George and Coach Tamika Reed say something kind of different. Let's hear from Eddie George first.
And the bigger issue, the school is fighting is the money that's owed to them from the land grant money that's been owed to them for the last 50 years. And that's something that can be a huge shot in the arm for our institution. And we have to be responsible enough to then take that money and put it toward infrastructure, put it toward new buildings, put it toward a robust endowment that can continue to build, to grow, and to set up other funds that's going to deal with the maintenance and the everyday use for our student athletes, and to bring in the talent and teachers where we're well staffed. So there's an opportunity there. Tennessee State has the bones to be it's a great institution, but now it's time to go from good to great, to eminence, to being exceptionally great with those opportunities, with those funds, and so forth. So that's what I'm fighting for, right? That's what I'm fighting. To eminence, to being exceptionally great with those opportunities.
All right. Here's Coach Reed's comments. Coach Reed, Tamika Reed from Jackson State basketball team. She said, coaching at an HBCU is not for the weak. You're going to fight battles internally and externally. And if your program experience any type of success, it will be even harder. I chose to come back for the fight, to truly even the playing fields and do something that's never been done. Somebody commented back, said, why does coaching at HBCUs have to be an exercise in sacrifice and accepting lesser than? No student should have to live in moldy dorms, not be able to access a clean dining hall. No coach should have a filthy office. Why? And Coach Reed replied back, I can't speak on that. That's not my experience or struggle. I didn't accept a job that was a sacrifice or accept less than. I accepted an opportunity to stamp a place with already great winning tradition. With respect, if you don't see it, try not to speak on it. My office pick. Yeah.
Saw that too.
Fellas, first off, I'm trying to think. Was how to put this? I guess the first thing,
what's your
Ed
thoughts
Reed-
on the Ed Reed comments?
Yeah,
pretty
let's
much?
Yeah, I was gonna say Ed Reed said that Dion was right and stuff like that. Was he right? Were they right?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, he was right. Both of them was right. The reality is that for years, and I mean for years, can you guys hear me clear enough?
Yes.
For years, we have experienced mismanagement at our HBCUs when it comes to leadership. This didn't just start happening. Somewhere around, I'm going to say probably about the 70s or the 80s, especially state-run institutions, when they understood that politics is what rules these institutions, and that there are boards, that there are organizations and entities, there are senators, there are legislators who are creating and putting people in positions, and you have people in positions at these institutions that aren't qualified to work at the 99-cent store. That's the God honest truth. I know a few of them. Some of them are my friends. They know they're not qualified for the jobs that they have. And so you have people there who have been mismanaging our institutions for years. We take pictures with the governor. We take pictures with our senators and our legislators. They come to church and kiss our babies. And then guess what they do? They go right on by their business and put people in office in positions who are not prepared to manage higher educational institutions. And so he wasn't lying. There's no need, there's no reason in today's time period that Deion Sanders should have ever been seen riding a lawnmower, cutting grass on anybody's campus. There's I don't care if it was just for press. If I was the AD, get your behind off of that riding lawnmower. That is what we have other staff for. We did not pay you to come cut grass and landscape. But the fact is that the grass hadn't been cut for a while. That's the reality. And so somebody had to do it. And since the staff wasn't doing it, he had to do it. And so he wasn't lying. I actually been to Daytona Beach recently. That trash was there. He was not telling a lie. It's sad, but it's the truth. And until we start holding people accountable, and I don't know why we want to beat up on the person who actually starts speaking out. It's like, it's that whole mantra of keep it in our house. Whatever happened in our household, don't you tell nobody else what's going on in this house. Well, it's kind of obvious. You can look and see. Can you imagine a football player who's leaving Florida State or leaving USF or any of those other institutions in Florida, and he's trying to recruit them, and they looking at trash all flying across the area that he's trying to recruit them to come and play football at that program? Come on. I don't even understand how this even became an attack on Ed Reed. Now, I'm not going to tell you I condone his cursing. That part, I mean, he went on a full tirade, but that's not my style, right? I would have been a little bit more finesse than that. But to each his own. But the premise for him being upset and frustrated, I mean, it's quite obvious. We can see it in many of our state-ran public, institutions. And Bethune-Cookman right now is having some internal issues with their alums. Their alums aren't trusting the administration. Administration aren't really fooling with their alums too much. There's a lot going on with Bethune-Cookman. So none of this is surprising to me.
Excuse me. So let me ask you a question. Is this a Bethune issue? Meaning, because with the trash and stuff, because we do know Bethune was hit by 2 hurricanes last year. They don't have a active president. They have an interim president. The AD is the head basketball coach. They've been on a hiring freeze, and Ed Reed is technically not really officially hired. Is this more of a Bethune issue and Ed Reed? Because he kept repeating, "I'm not even on contract yet. I'm not even on." Because so it sounded more like personal. That I'm not saying there's not truth in what he's saying, but it sounded a little bit more personal in his reaction. So is this more of a personal Bethune issue or what?
I think it's both. I think Bethune went out there and put social media information out there that they were closing a contract deal with Ed Reed, and this happened before, right after Christmas, and everybody got excited, right? This was Bethune-Cookman probably had more people follow they Instagram and social media. Probably half of America didn't even know Bethune-Cookman existed until this came out. And once that came out, everybody kind of said, let me go check out this institution in Florida. Well, you don't put that type of information out there if you don't have at least some kind of rough draft. I do contracts all the time, just being honest with you. My line of work, we do contracts, right? And if I'm an institution that has done a contract, especially a contract, you just got rid of your coach. You just hired your coach not too long ago, right? What, 9 years ago, 8 seasons ago? So it's not like the contract got that much dust on it. You can't start a conversation of at least sharing a draft document with the man to start having some type of conversation as to what the end goal would be to sign this contract before you start putting information out on the social media sites. I just think it's another sign of poor management to me. I didn't step foot into Texas until not only my offer letter, but every bit of information that I had. And if they fired the last coach, and he's been gone for a while now, you mean to tell me y'all just been leaving his office sitting up there nasty and busted and disgusted the entire time, and nobody went in to clean up his office so they could prepare for the next person? Was they planning on closing the football program down? Like, it's just stuff that just don't add up. It don't make sense to me. I think it was personal frustration as well.
Let me ask you, you're saying, you're a very above board type of person. Would you take a job at a place without visiting the place, touring the place, and seeing what the place look like? Because if you, in my opinion, if people went and toured the place, the facilities, he would know what they were lacking and what the trash situation was there and some of those other situations. And it wouldn't be such a surprise to him when he got there if he would have, kind of done his due diligence to a certain extent.
Facts. I absolutely agree with you. There's no way in the world. I can tell you now. Now, in my earlier part of my career, when I was hungry and trying to grow and go, I probably would have accepted, a job without seeing a facility. But being 15 years into economic development now, I mean, I've gotten 5 offers in the last 2 or 3 months now, and I just look at them and smile and say, thank you for the opportunity. But that's a different space and place. I mean, this man is hungry. He wants to be a head football coach, and he more than likely wants to be on the next level. So he's in pursuit of excellence. The problem that we run into at our HBCUs is that folks who are there aren't looking to go to the next level. They have reached the level in which they aspire to be at. And so it's almost like somebody driving on an interstate and you got somewhere you need to be, and they're in the left-hand lane and you're trying to get past them because you got somewhere you got to be. And what are they doing? They ain't in no rush. They just driving in the left-hand lane. It's the same situation. You go to a school and you're expecting them to have everything ready or at least be excited and engaged about it. And they looking like we're going to be here when you leave because we was here before you got here. And that's what you run into, is that I call it the way, right? It's the nature of the beast. And so a lot of these big name athletes and sports folks who want to become coaches at HBCUs, they're gonna run into that. And Dion talked about it a little bit. I knew what he meant when he came back after he got his after he got his new job at Colorado State, he came back and kind of got, you know, a little bit more detailed as to why he was leaving. If you're being transparent about how things are ran and operated at HBCUs, you knew what the man meant. Now you might not have liked the fact that he added our dirty laundry to the world, but you had to know what he was talking about.
For sure. So, Dave, Renard, what y'all got, man? I see y'all itching. You on mute.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say itching. Definitely not. I will let Dave go first though, because I think Dave is gonna say something.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, brother. Mr. Jerry, I thoroughly enjoyed your soliloquy, and I disagree with 85% of what you said. And here's why.
I love it when people disagree with me. I really do. I don't get it that much, except for my wife.
And here's why. Let me start with what I do agree with you on. I do agree with every institution has their issues. I do agree that Ed Reed office should have been clean. I do agree that if that trash was at Florida State on the ground, it wouldn't have been there. I do agree. Now, here's the issue with some of this stuff. When you talk about airing your dirty laundry, to the people that are not in the know, it makes it look or give the illusion as if HBCUs don't keep clean campuses. To people that's not in the know, you know what I mean? So when you go on a national stage, like a social media is worldwide, oh, I don't pick up trash. Well, I know one institution that's up in Normal, Alabama. We have it's as clean as you're gonna get. They cut grass every goddamn on day. So with the Dion, Coach Maynard ain't gonna be on no doggone lawnmower because they do that. So I guess the thing is that the problem with airing it, some of the stuff is isolated. I had an issue with him saying Dion is right, because is he right or is he wrong? I'm not saying Dion was wrong, because every school has its issues. I just did a quick Google search. Western Connecticut State president since 2015 stepping down because of allegations of financial mismanagement. Corruption allegations at Oral Roberts. Okay. Roxbury, ever heard of Community College, president stepping down. Quincy College, Liberty University. So I could go on and on with mismanagement or dirty laundry, but guess what? I didn't hear nothing about it, right? I didn't hear nobody on Liberty social media saying, hey, our president doing all this, that, and the other. So does it happen? Heck yeah, it does. That's back to the 50%, Jared. I agree with you. So yes, it does. I think it's all about how you handle it. And I'll leave it right there.
To start off, I will say that I think Mr. Jones did an excellent job presenting everything that he said, and in his line of work, 100% exactly, he's probably right. The problem that we're dealing with right now, when we're talking about the state of a lot of HBCUs, is that a lot of our people deal with social media. They deal with narratives. They deal with things that doesn't need to be handled outside. We always talk about, I'm not going to call out anybody in particular right now and say, we talk about different people handling different things and how things are done under the light and nobody sees it. And I get that there are some things like what Dion did. Some things had to be brought to light. Some things was great that he kind of brought some things to light. Some things does not need to be done in the public eye. And the public eye, a lot of people, especially on these social media sites, and I hate to say it like that, no, social media doesn't run the world. But let's be real, about 60-65% of a lot of stuff with HBCUs is found out through social media sites. So when I look at it, I'm like, you just couldn't go to an office and go handle this? You just, or even talk about it. Then if they don't do anything, air it out. Then put them on blast. Talk about them. Bring it to the forefront. It's kind of like what Coach Reed was saying. It's like, look, man, we know there's going to be some struggles, and we're trying to get there. And I'm with you. Some secrets in family Let it be known. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out. But coming from strictly a sports point of view of it, I just look at it and say that why do we need another black eye? You know, with our program, we cover HBCUs and we cover Power 5. And being in a lot of different corners, I hear the conversations. And the conversation that the mainstream media, like, you go on CBS Sports site right now, there it is. Ed Reed apologizes for embarrassing Bethune-Cookman. Why is this a conversation? And then like the comments and the people are saying like, oh, HBCUs don't have facilities, and people having to put pictures up of Bethune-Cookman facilities and the dorms and everything that they have. But I'm like, why are we doing all this? But I saw a small article here about when Harvard had this issue with mold and everything else. I see a small article here when the University of Alabama has this issue with mold and all these other things. It's like, we have to understand at the place of where we are. Let's talk about it. Let's definitely talk about it. But we also have to understand that we're trying to make ourselves better. We're trying to get to a better place. And if we don't treat each other right, then what we're going to do?
Right. Renard, if I could also say, of course, the way that it came out, I understand his sentiment, but I don't like his tone. You know, I felt like it was very disrespectful to the institution. But at the same time, I look at it as, well, we have issues. You know, we need funding. We need help. We need assistance. My thing is, that's a better way to say it. But not only that, I think he did bring light to that institution and the help that they actually need. I think it could have been done in a better way, you know, but at the same time, who knows? Maybe this can create something that can help. It can help assist the campus with getting the funding that it actually needs.
But at what cost? Because it's like, that's like beating up a woman and then say we need to get women's self-defense classes, because he was just
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think his tone was not necessary. It did not help, but I understand his sentiment.
My biggest issue, his apology wasn't as loud as his rant.
It never really is though.
He didn't go on. He went on social media to
he could have did a live stream like he did for the other two videos. My biggest issue was, one, lack of professionalism. You don't have a contract, but yet you're calling out the people who gave you a job out their name. I find that kind of not only unprofessional, but that's kind of out of line in my eyes. But then the comment that I had the biggest problem with is, I've done more in a week than people who've been here years. And that's just a slap in the face to all the people saying that I've done more in a week than people who've been here years is a slap in the face to all the people who work their blood, sweat, and tears at their institution to try to better every student who comes through those doors. And so I'm not saying that there isn't, issues at Bethune-Cookman and that they don't have things that they need to improve on, but slapping and disrespecting everybody who came and who's doing work day in and day out at that institution is not the way to go about doing it, bro. And to me, that's completely out of line. And the fact that he tried to show the statue of Miss Mary, Dr. Mary, and basically saying I'm doing this for her, but then just sit up there and disrespected everybody who's doing everything they can for her also is kind of disingenuous in a sense to me, man. And I understand that he did have a point to a certain extent. Some of that could have been cleaned up, and it could have been handled before he got there. True enough, I'm not disagreeing with that, but there's other ways he could have handled it. He could have been more professional, and he couldn't have and he shouldn't have disrespected the people who work tirelessly at that institution. I mean, you got an interim president who basically you saying you done more than him. And he had to deal with 2 hurricanes since he's been there. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I understand what he was trying to say is, I'm out here trying to put in work, but you don't got to put the next man down and try to prop yourself up, especially when you don't know what the next man has been doing for years before you got there.
And my thing is too, let's talk business. I'm not, especially on Ed Reed's level, I'm pretty sure he's seen a lot of contracts. He's a lot of contracts. He's done a lot of business deals. I'm not stepping on anybody's campus, especially at that level, without a contract. I'm not. And not only that, I'm not airing it out and saying I don't have a contract. I'm not doing that either.
Like the fool. That makes you look like the fool, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just, and that's my. Yeah, I don't understand that.
Let me ask this question.
Oh, go ahead, Boo. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me ask this question. What is Ed Reed's coaching credentials?
Don't get me started on that, boy. Don't do it, because I asked this question already. If Dion wasn't qualified because all he was a high school coach, then how was Ed Reed qualified? I asked this question already, and I caught some flack for it, but I'm just being 100%. Like, we're gonna be 100. Let's be 100.
So,
and a Hall of Fame player. All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
All right.
I mean, it's sitting right there in front of you. He is a Hall of Famer.
Okay, let me ask you this: how many? Because we can say Hall of Famer, right? How many Hall of Fame players realistically are very successful as coaches?
I don't know many of them that even want to come out and be bothered. To be honest with you, I hate to say that, but it's true. I really
a lot of your better. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of your better coaches weren't great players, and a lot of your great players aren't good coaches.
It's true.
It's not because you can play the game, don't mean you can coach the game.
Yeah, and now this goes to your point, Jerry, about mismanagement, because they went out and hired somebody who had no coaching credentials, but at the same time, they're giving him an opportunity, and this is what he turns it into.
Well, and let's say this.
Technically, to be legal, they have not hired him yet.
That's very true. They haven't. He had no contract signed.
And honestly, and to Miss Nikki's point, he did serve on the Miami staff
as a special assistant to the coach.
He's been special assistant.
So I mean, honestly, he knows how to ruin a program if he needs to.
He knows how to ruin one. Hey, but
that's what it sounded like. He said, "Huh? You know how to ruin a program."
If you look,
I'm not saying he gonna do that.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Daniel: would you hire to take it back? Would you hire Derek Panamsky to be your head coach because he was a special assistant to Ed Orgeron?
No.
So being a special assistant to the head coach doesn't mean you know how to run a program, does it?
You're 100% right, but let me add this caveat: if Derek Panamsky was one of the best players to ever play the game of football,
but that's not what you said.
Then I would have to think about it.
You said he knows how to run. You said because he was a special assistant, he knows how to run a program.
I never said that.
I would say this. I would bring y'all attention to this for a second, and I want to say one of you triggered my thought on this, and I went, I don't know if I even thought about that before. Not only would you not see this at other institutions, but we have kind of danced with this. But one of the problems that you have here is that people, when he first got there, figuratively, everybody kept saying, "Oh, this is Dion 2.0, what have you." People who said that obviously didn't know who Ed Reed was. Ed Reed is not a proficient and politically savvy and type of guy. That's not his style. First of all, have y'all paid attention to his social media? The only thing that you gonna get out of his social media is that he can smoke the mess out of some cigars. Okay, like I hope he has stock in cigars because
he does. He owns a cigar shop, so that's
it makes sense because that's all he got on there. So he's not really a personable. Put him in front of a microphone and put the media in front of him and start having conversations about the betterment of football and campus and student athletes and all. That's not his thing, which is another thing that goes back to mismanagement. If you know that you're hiring a coach who does not specialize in social media, and we're in a social media age, you have to do wraparound services and provide personnel to assist him. If your overall goal is to get Ed Reed in, to get your donors to be increased and to get more viability and more attraction to your university, and you know you're hiring somebody who don't like social media, you need to get someone to assist him with social media. And I'm not trying to blame Bethune-Cookman for him going on a rant, okay? I promise you I'm not doing that. But it's the reality.
Let me ask you this: How do we know that that wasn't the plan in place? And since he doesn't even have a contract yet, that's what they were going to do, and he just came out on a tirade, before those parameters were put in place.
Well, I know for a fact that Bethune-Cookman either allowed their PR people to go on a long vacation from Christmas to New Year's, because as a person who's not even fully in a PR role would never put out on social media that I'm in a contractual conversation to hire somebody
For sure.
That's right.
and just leave it at that. That's the last post I believe they made. Like this, it just don't. It nothing about it says it was operating at even this part of a level, right? It don't even. So let alone up here, it just is not. My wife would say it's not giving. It's just it ain't doing it. It ain't doing it.
Yeah, and let me also say this too, like not to say anything bad about Bethune-Cookman or anything. He was their 10th option. It's not like he was their first option.
Well,
that's saying something about Ed Reed too,
wait.
Exactly.
Wait, now that's impossible. That is impossible. That they reviewed 10 other coaches before him, and that office was still dirty.
No, it came out that they offered or reached out to 10 other coaches, and all 10 turned down.
The facilities wasn't clean then. Was all the staff in there trying to conjure up who was going to be the coach? Y'all quiet on me. Y'all done got quiet.
I'll say this, because I was listening to HBCU Nightly. Shout out to the to those guys over there. And they were talking about this, and some of the people were mentioning, and it was a lady came in, said she was a principal. And when she walked in, her office was dirty. And she just went in and cleaned it up because it wasn't that big a deal. I get it.
Let me tell you, I've been promoted, and I went to a different location, and I walk in my office and it's filthy. I mean, it happens. Yeah. I mean, but I understand. I mean, this we're talking about a Division I football program at the same time.
But did you throw a tirade?
To myself,
no, he was happy to get that job.
That is true.
So as somebody who had went to multiple institutions trying to get a head coaching job and had got turned down, but finally got a head coaching job, why wouldn't you just be happy to have a job?
You know what, though? The another part of this too is that the guys that we're dealing with, we're talking about NFL guys, Hall of Famers. You think about the schools that they attended, everything was kind of laid out for them.
Yes, sir.
They leave there, go to the professional, everything laid out for them. They got $1 million in the bank. So pretty much, what is he really doing for himself? Really? I mean, I don't know him personally. So I mean, I'm sure he has some assistants somewhere doing some things that he don't do. So it's probably a little bit of sense of entitlement there. I would say that. Whether rightfully or wrongfully, I don't know. But yeah, I think that's kind of what you're dealing with. Because if you're dealing with just a normal up and coming coach, man, he ain't
worried about that. He
finna go get some Clorox wipes, some Lysol, some Microban, and we finna go ahead and clean this office up.
Hey, he about to go get a poster and hang it on the wall. He ain't worried about that.
Mama, we made it. We here, Mama.
Exactly.
Look, we made it. And let me say this before I forget. Alabama A&M is one of the most pristine campuses I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. Do you hear me? I don't know if they get out there and cut grass with scissors.
He said they cut it every day.
They cut it every day.
My microphone went out, but I was over here amening when you said that. You can't even see. I literally said, how does the trash get picked up after the tailgate? Who does that? Like, it's pristine on that campus. So it is not every campus, right? But I definitely say it is what he said and what Deion Sanders said definitely does not transfer or relate to Alabama A&M campus at all.
True. That's
And
true.
I think that's another, my bad, Renard, but
No,
I
you
think
go ahead.
I think that's another problem with what Ed Reed said and some of the comments that Deion Sanders said was that it kind of put a generalization on all
Right.
HBCUs as
Correct.
if this issue affects all HBCUs, or if mismanagement of funds happens at all HBCUs. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen some at some institutions, but the problem is when you start making generalizations is you start lumping in innocent parties into the false accusations. And I think that's kind of what damage is done, because to the outside world, there's no difference between Southern University and Bethune-Cookman, or Jackson State and Grambling State University. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you start lumping in all these generalizations, okay, well, Alabama A&M is no different than North Carolina A&T. You know what I mean? In their mind, whenever it couldn't be further from the truth, you know. So I feel like damage was done, whether he knew it or not, just by the way he said those things, and kind of made it lump all HBCUs together.
But that was by design. I hate to say it, but it is by design. They know who their audience is. Their audience is not us. Yeah. I'm gonna just put it like that. We are not their audience.
Is it for money, you think, Jerry?
Huh?
Is it for money?
It's not just for money. It is what I call narcissism. It is, I am here to help people, and
is it the savior complex?
It's the savior complex.
It's definitely a savior complex.
Because that Bible verse came out right before that. If you looked at his thing, that Bible verse came out. Yeah, the Bible verse came out about him being here. You know, I'm doing the Lord's work. You know, all that. It's the Deion. It's the same blueprint Deion put out, man.
Listen, our good friend LeBaron said, when they bring Jesus and God in it, that's a red flag.
I get nervous. And look, I was a junior deacon back in my adolescence days. But whenever somebody bring up the Lord, I start looking over my glasses at them like, wait a minute. I'm about to get robbed. Hold on. Wait, something ain't right. Let me get my wallet. I get nervous.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Jerry, I will say you up to 25% of the things I agree with right now. So we're moving in the right direction.
We're moving on up, huh?
Oh man, we gonna get 50-50 before we leave here.
Jeremy, at home, I'm always wrong, so I'm excited. I'm at 25%. Gotta go tell my wife.
But to piggyback on something, like we talk about like the outside perception and everything that everyone is speaking on, but I mean you can even start with the hat that Daniel got on. Everybody talked about that forever and ever and ever. Lord knows we got videos with 150, 200,000 views just strictly off of us putting that up there about what Coach Robinson had to say. Like you said. I want your apology to be allowed to madness. And there's people today still commenting on that video saying how wrong Coach Robinson was, and Deion gone.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't around on this podcast when that statement came up, but I will tell you this. That statement will continue to haunt him for a while. And I will say this. This group, this conference called the SWAC is a club. It's a group of universities who, for most part, have experienced similar situations within their state governments, within their donor bases. They're not that far off one another. They're very close, which is why everything, even down to sports, even to academics, is very, very, very close to one another. Far as rankings are concerned to a degree, right? And so we kind of all have similar issues. When you look at what he said about Deion, what that says is that if someone comes into a university who does not have a SWAC football background, and they come in, that they have to literally sit in the back of the room and be quiet, and they cannot be themselves because you will get upset with them and say that they aren't SWAC. But they didn't beat you like a bass drum. They didn't beat you like a bass drum.
He ain't beat him like a bass drum, but he beat him.
Let me say this.
I don't know, because he had to
operate
say
like
that
this.
about Coach Maynard. Coach
Let me
Maynard is
say-
not SWAC.
Let
Did
me
not
say
come
this.
from a SWAC school. He didn't
operate
say that
like
about
this.
Coach Maynard. He didn't say that about
Q.
Willie Simmons either. Willie Simmons didn't come from a SWAC school.
It was personal. That's the truth. It was personal. The man just didn't like how cocky and arrogant Dion is, and so he lashed out in an emotional situation and said, "You ain't SWAC." And get this. Can I say this? All he did was say what the other coaches wanted to say, but they didn't have the gumption to say it.
Now that me and you agree with, because
They all
we can
felt that way.
we can tell you that
they would never say it, and he was in passion, got angry, and said, "The hell with it. I'm going to say
Cool,
it."
we could. I mean, Pooh Bear. I mean, Aunt, y'all was with us at SWAC Media Day. You know how it was. You know what the vibe was when we were sitting in there, and then we was able to talk to everybody. And then here come when every other, mainstream reporter comes in, they ran right where?
Dion.
Ran right to that table.
Yeah.
And there was even some coaches then who spoke about it. But at the same time, I still say that Coach Robinson is getting a bad rep about it. Fine. But what he said, everything he said is not wrong. Maybe the manner that it happened, but everything he said is not wrong. That was just my biggest thing about it. I'm like, well, maybe it could be right, but that's not the way that situation blew. That situation blew was like Dion was the gospel, and you not.
Yeah.
Like when you the gospel is gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't think necessarily that statement. Well, let me say it. In a way, it does apply to everyone who didn't play football in the SWAC. You're correct, but I don't believe that's how he meant it. I believe he meant it as there's other people who didn't come up and play SWAC football, but they didn't come in the house and start saying, "Hey, your dishes ain't washed. You need to take the trash out. You got dirty clothes." You know what I mean? They just came in and sat down and be quiet about what was going on. And not saying that that's right or wrong, but in a way, you don't disrespect it. You know, when you were brought, like you say, it's a club. They invited you into their club. Don't come in here disrespecting it. You know what I mean? Not saying you can't point out what's right or wrong, but you come in there trying to make it yours in a sense and try to change the whole thing into your club. And not every coach is doing that. Not every coach who isn't SWAC is doing that. So
and that go back
that
to money
statement
too.
doesn't apply to everything.
Right.
To everyone.
Let me say this too, also, especially whenever you come into a room that you've never been before, you don't come in loud. You know what I'm saying? You come in with your head down, ready to work. That's how you get your respect. That's how you earn the respect of everybody on that campus. So the fact that he came in that way, he probably lost 80-90% of the room anyways. Yeah. So it's gonna be hard for him to get anything done at Bethune, just being honest. If they decide to keep him, if they decide to do a contract,
they ain't got no choice.
What you at this point, it's a bad look for both parties if he's not the coach there.
Yeah, because now you just fired me because I told on you.
Exactly, and
then he didn't have a contract, so technically you can't.
But that's the thing. You hired me, but then you decided you didn't want me no more because I came out and said something on social media, and at the same time, it's like you wanted a job and you ruined your only chance you got at a job because you couldn't stay off social media. So it's a bad look for both parties if he's not the coach.
I think it's worse for Ed Reed though if he gets fired. Bethune would be fine.
No,
I don't know. Not if they had 10 people turn them down already.
No, they won't. They won't be fine. And guess what? If anybody's gonna be fine, he's gonna be fine. Because guess who's gonna take him right on back?
Miami.
Thank you. He's going right on back to Miami. One thing you got to learn is that if you play for them, I don't care how far you go in life and how far away you stray away, they always gonna have a seat at the table for you. That man will always have an opportunity. They don't care if he just in there just got his feet up on the table and watching Google Maps, right? They're gonna have him a position in an office at Miami. Forever. He will always be able to have something there walking on that sideline.
That part is 100% true. But
have I gotten past 25 yet?
Yeah, man, you got about 40% right now.
Yeah.
Question is, what he got to do to get to 50?
Man, time gonna run out on it, man.
Oh,
Time gonna run out on it.
Exactly right.
I just want to know what he got to do to get to 50.
He gonna stop at 49.5, and then
Yeah, man.
So, I guess I asked, what can be done to salvage this relationship?
Win.
Facts.
Yep.
Facts.
Winning solves all
Everything.
problems.
That is true.
That's the magic elixir right there.
But here's the thing. I think he's so far behind the 8 ball.
That's
If he
another
win,
part.
it won't be this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be this year.
Yeah.
He just can't be like another school I know that's 2-9 this year. As long as he can.
But hey, I'm gonna take them and the points though. I'm gonna take the other school you're talking about. They probably the favorites.
You talking about Valley?
Valley.
You talking about Valley? We gonna say Valley?
You talking about
Valley, ain't it?
You talking about Valley?
I got to be one of them. Both of them got 2 wins.
Gremlin had 3 wins, so
Oh, my
don't
bad,
do,
my
don't
bad,
do
my
Gremlin like that, man.
I'm sorry.
That's what y'all not gonna do now. That's what y'all not gonna
I'm
do.
sorry. I forgot about that one win.
I was saying, why Valley catching strays?
No,
Valley ain't
that's
did
one
nothing to
school that
nobody.
nobody picks on. That is one school that everybody be like,
Nah,
y'all,
yeah.
leave that. He's the cool cousin. Leave him alone. Now he minds his own business and he play fair. Just leave him alone.
But you know what? I know this is off top, but if Valley still had their head coach, I really would pick them as favorite in that game. But go ahead.
I agree. But
I mean,
he played well.
I
in
might
the
still
sandbox.
pick him
What
as
he
the
had.
favorite.
You heard me? He played well in the sandbox, so you see where he at now.
Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
He did. He kept everything close to the field.
He rubbed the right elbows, man.
He rubbed the right elbows. I knew he was favored whenever Dion went down there and commended him and started saying all kind of. I said, "Oh well, he going with him whenever he do decide to leave."
Does Dion still help build that stadium?
At what school?
Remember, he tell Valley, "Oh, we gonna help y'all get a stadium, build our stadium."
Valley gonna keep them bleachers. Valley gonna keep them bleachers. Dion ain't going back to Itabena. Now he may land in Jackson's airport, but a time or two. I think he's gonna end up going back. To
he gonna come back to Jackson because Shiloh got to graduate.
Now, wasn't that interesting, y'all?
See,
That boy,
Jerry trying to take me places. I ain't going now.
That boy really no. Wait, Shiloh really wanted to. He really enjoyed the HBCU experience.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
That boy, he just was in love with the HBCU experience. So I mean, what do you mean? I'm trying to take you places.
He gonna be mad when Colorado don't got no drum majors.
They already mad about the housing right now, but I watched the video the other day where he was talking about
I saw
he was talking about the housing and stuff. I'm like, you ain't in Jackson no more, bro.
Ain't in Jackson no more.
You in Colorado, son. Welcome to the real estate world.
Yep, and it's expensive.
It's expensive.
And see, Shiloh had already. Here's the thing: Shiloh had already been to a Power 5 school, so he got a chance to experience that. When he came down to Jackson State, it was more about the culture.
Yes, sir.
Because he's seen the glitz and glamour. So when he brought it to the culture, he didn't want to turn that loose, man.
When that boy said he went to the band room and practiced with the band, I went, what?
You know what? That's when I knew. That's when I knew he really loved being at HBCU, bro. It wasn't. He wasn't really like his daddy being there. Obviously, was part of it, but he wanted to be there because of the culture and everybody around and the environment, and, and everything that comes with being at HBCU, man. That's that was the attraction to him.
Making his own path.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Poe Jackson State. I feel so sorry for this.
How you feel sorry for Jackson?
I'm just saying, when somebody break up with you, you gotta go through a grieving moment. And,
boy, we at 50%. God dang, we at 50%. I ain't think we gonna get that. We at 50%.
I ain't gonna say nothing on that point.
I'm just saying, it's sad. They would play their little song saying, "Go ahead on and leave." at the SWAC championship game, and they were singing it with their chest.
Yeah, we were there.
Sorry for
Me and Dave were definitely on the sideline singing along with our other two partners. We were definitely there. They were strong now.
But the crazy part about that song in the moment, it wasn't meant that way. The DJ was playing a lot of blues songs. And then you know you had the idiots in the stand. Bye Dion. On TikTok.
Yeah.
Man, we were just vibing, man. I knew all the blues songs too. I knew all of them.
And Mr. J, you know what's the crazy part about, like you just said, it didn't even pop in our head until we saw it. Like somebody had posted it like quickly, like on social media. It was like, oh, we might not get in the post game conference doing this.
The Petty was there. It was
definitely there.
Let's be honest. That game, that championship game, was probably the most solemn I've ever seen Jackson State fan base. It was like the guy had just took the girl in the back and said, "Hey, we going back out here in front of this camera, but I just want to let you know that we're not gonna be together no more, okay?" And literally, they walked back in, and the camera got right in their face, and they was looking like, that's what it looked like. That's everything about it. They couldn't even celebrate. They couldn't even really cut up and talk noise to us when they beat us. They couldn't. They was just like,
scorned.
He gone, and he really did leave. I mean, he didn't even get up there to touch the trophy.
He was up there for a little while.
That ain't what I saw. I saw him yanking his wife down off that stage. Now that's what I saw. But I mean, hey, y'all had a closer view than me.
I mean, we left a little bit beforehand. We went on to the back to try to get a closer of the supposed to be.
You went to go to the press conference, the non-existent press conference.
Yeah, well, somebody was back there interviewing.
Ashley was there.
Y'all gonna stop all this Deion saying is slander.
The AD was there.
What's the slander at?
I'm just saying.
No, that wasn't the AD. That was Dr. McClellan. Dr. McClellan was sitting there.
Back there,
yeah, he was sitting at the table.
No, that wasn't McClellan. That was Andrew.
That was Andrew Roberts.
Andrew. That's who it was there. Yeah, I'm about to say it was one person at the table by himself, looking lonely.
Well, after Southern left, we were standing right there, and I was standing right there, and that's how I got that picture right up there, and then that's when the phone call went down, like, hey, he won't be coming. I mean, which we already knew. And then Andrew was like, I regret to tell y'all that Coach Sanders and I'll be going back for the emergency team meeting. And then, like, I didn't try to get a picture like the way the picture came out, because the picture kind of came out like you done left me standing, but it just don't happen exactly in that moment. Like,
he looked lonely, man.
It is. It was like that's when everybody got up. Everybody, in that little small room was like, well, I ain't gonna say what they said, but it was just like, hey, let's go. That's just where it was. But no, ain't no slander, Daniel. Come on, man.
I'm just messing. But let me ask y'all this. Now we touched on Ed Reed. What about Eddie George? What y'all think about his comments?
That's how you handle it. As a coach, that's how you handle it. He admitted that we had problems and that there has been problems, and we need to be, smart and handle it the appropriate way, the right way. But at the same time, he pointed out the truth, and that there has been underfunding, and there has been times where we're missing money as HBCUs, missing money that could help advance the furtherment of our institution, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be better teachers, better research, whatever the case may be. That's what that money for those things comes from, is the funding that we're missing from the government.
Y'all.
You finna drop, Dave. It's about to go back down to about 35, man.
He about to say something crazy.
Y'all. I see this stock going down.
I see it.
Me too. Dropping.
Eddie George. He did what I would have done, pending the right paycheck was posting to my account. He was extremely political and savvy and wise, and he said all the things. But if you know Tennessee State, the way I know Tennessee State, you know that he don't believe half of what he got up there and said.
Oh, man.
Because one thing he knows is that Tennessee State could have, it should
and he danced with his words a little bit. But Tennessee State has always been in a space where it could have climbed past several of the other HBCUs, and for a myriad of reasons, it continued to shoot itself in the foot. Can I give y'all one example? Who is the most important alum of their institution?
Tennessee State.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Why is that? She's the bigger donor at Spelman. I got all the time in the world. My wife don't expect me to come from downstairs for a minute. Y'all explain that to me.
You got me on that one.
I don't know, man.
You get where I'm going. The woman graduated from Tennessee State University, okay? So you got to ask yourself a question. If she graduated from Tennessee State University, what's going on?
Their relationship.
There you go. So they've had a history of shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. So Eddie George, he said all the right things. Eddie George said
they're politically correct.
What you say when your woman is in the room. And I'm gonna leave it.
You don't think he believed it? I believe
he believed half of what he said. And if his direct deposit posted today, and it was made today, I believe he believed 56% of what he said.
Can I just say what I was told one time from someone very connected? If a coach is breathing, he lying.
You better know it.
And I mean, so you know what I mean? I'm not saying Eddie was wrong. I mean, I agree with a lot of what Eddie was saying. I'm just saying it's like that. I just feel like the way he handled it was a much better way to handle the situation. It's just like anything else. Like, this is just what coaches do. Coaches go, they recruit, they do a lot of things. They got a lot of stuff going on. They know how to play with the words right. The ones who don't are not successful. The ones who do, they know how to keep going on. Bingo. But in this case, Ed at least took the problems, brought it to the forefront, and said, here's a solution. It's just like when you're in charge of like other people, if you're managing, you say, okay, what's the problem?
How we fix it?
What's the solution?
Bingo.
What we gonna do to fix it? Not like, oh, here's the problem. Let's all get together and just have a you know what fest and talk about it.
Yeah.
And that was the issue, I think, on the other side of what we were looking at was like, okay, we're just gonna sit here and talk about all this stuff right here, and then you're gonna further bring down the narrative of that, hey, these HBCUs not doing what they need to do. And it's like, that's just, some of them that's just further from the truth. Stop clumping them all into one category, because Dave is a graduate of Alabama A&M. I'm a graduate of Stillman College. I don't even put those two in the same category with each other. Those are two totally different HBCU universities and colleges. That's just what they are. We just have to do better about that part, about making sure that we are getting each other back and doing everything that we can for each other.
For sure.
So let me ask y'all this: what should we take from this, from Ed Reed's situation, and from situations like this?
I want to hear Dave comment.
Man, how can I say this? I think sometimes as a race, we have to learn to get out of our own way. Mm-hmm. And I mean that very respectfully. What I mean is that we've been so disenfranchised, a lot of us, through our upbringing. And the first thing that don't go our way, I knew it. I should have dealt with him. I should have dealt with them. I you hear it all the time. Now, if it was a XYZ business, it wouldn't have went this way. Listen, I think what we have to realize is that no matter what race, creed, or color anybody is, everybody got dirty laundry.
Absolutely.
And just because the dirty laundry comes from somebody who looks like you, don't mean that they dirty laundry more dirty than what's over here.
Absolutely.
So that's where I believe.
Yeah, that's a good point, brother.
Mr. Jerry, y'all back 50-50 right now?
Oh, we back 50-50. I do want to add one thing to Tennessee State situation.
Okay.
one of the things that I always say is that leadership matters, right? And when you look at who's the president at Tennessee State now, not talking about previous years, right? But if you look at who's the president now of Tennessee State, Madam President Glenda Glover, you look at her, she screams innovation, right? And she's always well put together. She reminds me of a much younger Ruth Simmons, Dr. Ruth Simmons. She's very, very, very classy, refined, and so things that come out of administrators' mouths or out of their press releases are going to always reflect who she is as president. So Eddie, that's the only reason why I'm giving Eddie such a hard time, because I know that Eddie probably wasn't 100% in on putting these words together, which, hey, that happens. He's a coach. Name me coaches that's going off of their,
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed, Ed Reed. You could tell
and that's why we here tonight.
And you could tell Ed Reed wrote that. You could tell he wrote that tweet himself too.
Yeah,
he didn't have nobody right there for him.
And
that was his words.
Glenda Glover ain't about to let nobody write no tweets. She ain't playing there. And if y'all don't know who I'm talking about, go check her out. She is, I wouldn't even call her up and coming, because she is in the role now. But extremely amazing leader, and has hired several people that I know at Tennessee State and brought them on board to advance their cause. So it doesn't shock me, and I wouldn't be surprised if one day I do hear that Oprah has decided to return back to support them. But if I'm Oprah and I've had bad experiences in previous administrations, this one is going to take a little time to get me back warm and fuzzy with them. So we know what Eddie did, but Ed gonna have a hard road. But the best way for Ed is to turn this around is to win.
And then also continue to just
shut up.
I would go say that, Jerry. I wasn't gonna say just shut up, but you're gonna have to be more mindful of your words and what you're saying and who you're saying it to. That's just kind of where we are. And I have a question for the Golden Boot.
Oh Lord.
Is my friend Chuck on the broadcast today?
Oh yeah, my boy here.
Yeah, Chuck is definitely here.
Okay.
He did correct. He did correct y'all earlier. He said Dion and Tracy Edmonds are dating. They are not married. He wants y'all.
Yes, 100%. You are 100% right about that. And I wanted to make sure that Chuck was on here, because every week when I tune in personally, I'm like, okay, Chuck is the librarian. He gives everything you want to know in the encyclopedia. I just never cease to amaze me. Him and Dr. Cavill are like. We know Dr. Cavill personally, and he's about to be on our show here soon. It's like, okay, Dr. Cavill is like, whoo, them two between him and you get him and Chuck in the room, man. Look, we can get us a deal on Netflix or something.
They're gonna talk about Gremlin and playing in New Jersey in 1958, and
look, to my Alabama friend, I just wanted to point out that you said that you don't see other scandals being celebrated. I just got through watching the whole documentary on Liberty University. So if they can get, I don't want no HBCUs to get to the scandal level that they got.
Right.
That was USC. That was a little bit different, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Liberty scandal was a little bit different.
Oh yeah, it's off the chain. You got to go see.
That's wild.
That's why I might not ever own a pool. But
I'm
gonna have to go watch it. I ain't.
Be careful. Be careful, Daniel. If you go watch that, be careful. That's all I'm gonna say to you.
I got
just off the chain.
Be in a room where you ain't got nothing else on your mind. Just
you gonna spend your whole time going, did that really happen? Like,
yeah.
I remember in real time when it first came. Yeah.
Well, look, let me say this too, because I know, Ed, you asked, what can we take from this? I'll say this. I'll take kind of like what Nard said. You got to be more tactful. What you say, it's not all the time what you say, it's how you say it. I think his you know, Ed Reed's message could have came across a lot better if he would have worded it a lot better and not being so emotional. You know, so they go Chuck again.
They go Chuck. They go Chuck.
But yeah,
I'm
but
telling
honestly,
you, man.
I hope the best
I knew it was coming.
for Eddie George and for Ed Reed. You know, I wish both of those brothers much success, and hopefully they get that in those programs also.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off y'all, not just the tactfulness and you know, watching the words that come from his mouth, but also kind of, in my opinion, be more mindful of different avenues that you could take to resolve problems. Not everything has to come to social media. You know what I mean? That you could walk to the AD's office, you can walk to the, you know, the president's office, you can call it, you know, you're saying there's other avenues that you can go to resolve problems than running straight to social media and, you know, airing it that way. And not just for, you know, problems like trash and stuff like that, but problems within your program. You know what I mean? If you have an issue with this, go to the AD. Don't come on Instagram Live and say, man, our weight room look like, you know what I mean? Just go handle it the right way through the proper channels instead of bringing everything to social media.
But you know
leaders lead.
But isn't this ironic that happened in this day and age? Because that's the day and age we live in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that you got people that can't sit down and eat a dinner without taking a picture or taking a video or this.
That's true.
I literally just watched
their whole life go on social media first.
And to me, that screams I'm searching for validation.
Hey, we made it.
We done made it. We got a bot.
We made it, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. We get one of them every show. Bruh, I'm telling you.
Hey, we trying to get like y'all.
No, you don't want to do that. Hey, I'm telling you, at least that one was a good one. Yeah. I want to commend, first of all, for everybody that's on this panel, but definitely between Jerry and David, because to me, this is an example of when grown black men have a conversation. Sure. And I think we've gotten away from that in our society. It's like, okay, Jerry has a point, David has a counterpoint, and then in the middle, they all come together like they respect each other's opinion. That doesn't mean like you don't have to like air somebody out and do all this and do all that. And it's like in the end, okay, now I respect everything that Jerry was saying, and of course I respect everything Dave was saying. I mean, I do a show with him. So it's like, I mean, I 100% see both sides, but you know, I appreciate this platform that we on today for giving us that, because we don't get that. We don't get that in today's society. That's about like, hey, Jerry sees it from his side, being an economic advisor. And David sees it from his side. And it's like, they can still have the same points together. And I just appreciate that for 6 black men that's sitting here right now, being able to conversate about this issue.
For sure.
I agree.
For sure. And to your point, I think what's been lost a lot in this day and age is agreeing to disagree. You know what I'm saying? To like respecting your perspective or your opinion on it, but I'm just going to agree to disagree. And nowadays, everybody has to, I got to prove you right. Oh, I got to prove me right. I got to prove you wrong. You know what I mean? I got to bring you to my side and make you see it the way I see it, instead of just saying, hey, everybody not going to see things the same way. You know what I mean? But I understand where you're coming from. I respect where you're coming from, but I see it this way, and we're just going to agree to disagree. And I can, to your point, Renard, commend both of them, these fellas, for how they handled it. You know, they didn't got to agree. You know, 50-50, like my boy Dave said, 50-50. You know what I mean? But they going to respect both 50s. You know what I'm saying? We're going to respect the 50 that we agree, and we're going to respect the 50 that we disagree. You know what I mean? And we're going to keep it cordial. But kudos to y'all for how y'all handled it, too.
So, I'm going to say something, Renard. I shared this with you before.
What's that, sir?
Not everybody black understand HBCU.
Ooh, yeah.
Boy, you about to make me lead the show.
Well, he about to really make me lead the show because he start to look at me.
Yeah, but again, I do want to thank everybody for I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I'm scared to click on
thunderstorms.
Yeah, somebody cutting up over there.
Talking about that link. But let me say this real quick, Pooh, before you wrap it up. I appreciate all you guys coming on and speaking with us tonight, man. And it was just so good and refreshing to get different opinions, and kind of like what you were saying, Renard. I second that. It's good to not get emotional about it. And kind of like what Ann said, hey, we can agree to disagree, and it's cool. But we're not always going to agree on everything. Everybody is going to operate through the lens of how they grew up, and what they've seen, in their lifetime. So, I mean, if we can all this is how you work things out. We got to communicate, and not hide it. But yeah.
So when Jared gets that president's job or VP or whatever, y'all all remember this connection right here, right?
Yes,
okay.
I just need a job, brother.
I thought y'all was talking about.
Oh yeah, and you talk.
Got nervous.
Oh yeah, and Jerry. Jerry, you actually mentioned another point. I had it written down here. You said that HBCUs uses a lot of guys that are ladies that are not qualified. So my counter to that would be, well, it's been in other places, it's been unqualified people hired all the time. So with that being said, when you get your VP job, when I put my application in, don't even look at it. Don't even look at nothing. Just hire me. Just hire me on the strength of the show. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just manifesting you to be, we just moving you on up right now.
We just moving you on up, man.
Hey, all jokes aside, I know that this has nothing. This show doesn't really have anything to do with economic development, but on my LinkedIn page, I just posted about a fellows opportunity for people who are 18 to 28, I believe. There's a fellows positions that are available for the International Economic Development Council. So just go on LinkedIn on my page, look at that. It's public, and check that out because
Jerry, you can't be 31, man. Come on.
I know.
We can't break that rule for you, Dave.
Funny enough, I did ask. Because somebody who was 32 asked. I said,
I sure was wondering 32, But.
Funny. That's funny. Yeah. But gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming on. And again, like we said, having this conversation, being able to give, two different perspectives and finding some common ground in the middle.
Sure.
Sir.
Appreciate y'all for coming on with us, though, brother.
Thank y'all
all of y'all.
For sure.
All right.
Man, you already know. You already know.
Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow with the Golden Boot, giving y'all some LSU news. Talking, I guess you can say LSU news.
Jay, we ain't gonna have you back for that.
No, I don't know if we really want to talk.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about them neither.
Nah, we ain't want to talk about them.
Don't even mention them on here.
Who we say? Who we say?
Yeah, Alabama
University right now.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're not happy. You're not making friends with anybody on the panel by saying you're Alabama.
No, he make a friend with me. He make a friend with me.
All right, come on, man.
Bro, I'm married to a 3-time Alabama graduate that lives in the same house. What are you talking about?
Oh, I understand. Happy spouse, happy house. I understand.
But aside from that, how do you turn away from the most genius program in America?
Okay. Let's go and end this show.
Because I'm a real football person.
So when you say winning this, are you talking about all the championships claimed, or are you talking about the actual ones won?
Jury, period. I'm talking about all these rings.
We ain't said loud and wrong all night.
I'm talking about all these rings.
All right. Definitely
you down to 10% with David. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I mean, it's a done deal. We got to start all the way over.
I saw it in your face. I flatlined. I saw it. He was like, "Well, it's over."
Hey, Pooh, can I tell the people where they can find us, man?
Sure. You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm being rude.
No, you fine.
Y'all tell us where they can, people can catch, catch y'all.
Hey, man, you can find Renard and myself on Down South Football Podcast. Search it on YouTube. You can do at DSL Podcast on Twitter, Down South Football Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, all the same, man. We hang out. These are our guys. These like our brothers, man. We hang out all the time. We have a good time. We talk trash, talk facts, and all our show. We try to keep it sane as much as we can. But hey, man, y'all come check us out.
For sure. Hey, also, Jerry, you have anything you want to promote?
No, but I do want to ask about that Down South shirt that they had of the Dion and Dooley championship game. I do wear a size 3X.
What you talking about, Jerry?
What shirt was it, Jared?
It was a shirt. It was like a magazine cover of the shirt that had Dion and Dooley on it.
Oh, okay. That wasn't us, Jerry. I don't know who made that.
Oh, okay. Look, I've been trying to get that shirt for the longest.
But I tell you where you can get a shirt. You go to dsf.com, go to merchandise, and click there, and you can get whatever you want.
I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Just don't buy the last shot glasses. Don't do that because it's
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow with an episode of the Golden Boot, and we'll be back next week with another episode of HBCU Hour. And like that, we out.